Gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous Cancers.
Gorgeous Cancer. Cancer season has forced me to take care of myself, and it feels good.
It feels gorgeous. Yeah, no, what a gorgeous season it's been. We're in the peak of 2023, Heather, as you pointed out to me before the podcast. It's the full moon and Cap energy, right at the peak of halfway through the year, in the midst of Cancer season. Whew.
Yeah.
A lot of chaos going on.
A lot of chaos. Yeah. I was telling you, I thought that the Capricorn full moon would bring up themes of like, you got to work harder, you got to be more responsible. But I think instead I got a message from the universe that was like, you need to work a little less. You need to take a break. You need to be more Cancer. You need to like nurture yourself, relax, sit with your blanket.
Yeah. It's so funny that you say that, Heather, as I love to say every time you say something profound, which is quite literally every 5 seconds.
Oh, stop it.
But well, you stop it and I wouldn't have to do this. But exactly, it was like the Cap moon came in, but you know, it's still Cancer's time, right?
Yeah,
it's still Cancer's season. So I hear you and I feel you. I was expecting to feel the same, and it's like I did get really grounded and I did get really responsible, but not in the ways that like I thought it was going to, like in that fatherly way. It was much more maternal. It felt much more feminine about like doing like just some nice little like kind of spa things for myself. But on top of, I know that you, if you don't mind me sharing with the
Go
listeners,
ahead, share.
I know that you're going through a sinus infection. You're going through a little sinus infection this past weekend during your holiday. If we want to call the 4th of July that.
Right, I know.
Let me not digress.
Yeah.
But
oh my God.
Same thing happened to me. Well, I didn't get sick, but essentially I was physically ill because I fucking slept on my neck wrong, which is just it's the stupidest thing that happens to me, because it is an injury. Like, it hurts so bad when you tweak your neck or whatever. I think everyone can relate. Maybe they can't. This happens to me too often.
I hate that feeling. Oh my God, it's the worst.
You can't move correctly.
I can't drive. I'm like, how do I look at my blind spot?
Literally, when this would happen to me in LA, I'd be like, I cannot move to look at my
you cannot drive.
It really. And it's like, and you can like retweak it when it has like been pinched, and like the first like hour of waking up is agony, because it's like you're breaking out of that mold. Anyways, not to be a baby about it, but I was down for the 4th of July. And it poured here in New York anyway, like for most of the day. So like we had plans to be outside, but those were kind of, I don't know. There's been a theme this year for me where I've been having holidays sort of, I don't want to say ruined, because I do make the most out of them. And in retrospect, this ended up being I realized, with the energy of what we are experiencing, the Cap full moon, but also mixed with that Cancer sun right now. And I just literally, it was kind of like the universe said, rest. Look, it's pouring anyways. So we understand it's like a day that you had plans to be a little twat about twat about town.
Right.
That's a phrase, Heather. You know that. I know I don't have to tell you that's a phrase.
Yeah.
I wanted to just, twat about town, having, drinking beer, drinking brewskis with the girls. But yeah, it was also like, there was every excuse to also like just lay there and like take care of myself, on top of the sort of like spa weekend I gave myself, and like did some nice things for the skin and the hair and yada yada. My point to this is that, until I didn't look at it that way until you kind of related the way, or when you brought up getting sick yourself. And it's just so fascinating that we both had a similar
I know
holiday experience.
Isn't that funny? More remarkable that that's been like a theme of the year for you. Like, how you got COVID around your birthday and all that. That I don't wish that on anyone. I'm so sorry.
it ended up being the best thing in retrospect.
Yeah, and your Gemini moon, you can adapt, the Pisces wisdom. You're fine. But
Thank you, Heather.
but yeah, no, it actually ended up being such a blessing that I got sick especially because like normally, I mean, I work 5 days a week and I don't work remotely. I have to like go and commute to work 5 days a week. And normally Mondays and Tuesdays are my days off. So it wasn't like I had a holiday weekend. It was 4th of July weekend was just my normal Monday and Tuesday off. But because I got sick, I actually got to have Wednesday off also. And it felt like a long weekend, which I never get. And I got to just like fully relax yesterday. I did some work, but like mostly just relaxed. And like weirdly, I think that I needed this time also to tap back into like creative inspiration and to like find myself again, because I've just been socializing so much and super socially anxious lately. And like I think that I'm also feeling those personal planets in Leo right now, which they say July is supposed to be a very creative and romantic month. And for the first time I was like, wow, I am like feel like I needed this stillness to like tap into the fun weirdly and to like remind myself of who I am. Anyway, that got very
No, Heather, that's beautiful. That's truly beautiful. I love how you articulated that, truly.
yeah, it feels good.
It does. It should. And again,
the phlegm does not feel good, but
no.
But I'm used to miss
not
phlegm.
Our friend. Yeah. No. But also, yeah, I think sometimes that is what happens, unfortunately, when we don't take rest for ourselves. Not that you were like
no, I was going hard.
Yeah, like it catches up. Like the body will demand she demands her rest, whether we like it or not. And it's just nice that it aligned for you, that you were able to end up having an extra long weekend, because your weekend it wasn't like you were having a long weekend to party it up like you wanted to.
It's okay. I do enough partying.
But no, yeah. That was such a beautiful. I just love being reminded that it's like Capricorn is that fatherly energy, like we talked about, right? Or that more like masculine energy in the way to ground yourself more like in the how like a father would a little bit. Like, did you check your car oil? Are you did you ask for that raise at work?
Totally.
Know, like,
and I got a raise, Miranda, like right before the Capricorn full moon. Isn't that crazy?
God, that's amazing.
But yeah.
No, that's not crazy. You deserve it. But that's
Thank
also
you.
just, what a nice little from the sky, from the stars. That's fabulous. It has to feel amazing.
It does.
And that's very Capricorn full moon energy.
Exactly. I thought so.
And very Cancer mother nurturing, the way that it's like, here's some money.
Yeah, I know.
It's like both your mom and your dad like snuck you some money behind each other's
back. It felt that way. Yeah. Yeah, I feel very supported this week. It's good. It's good.
That's gorgeous. Oh, Heather, I'm so happy to hear that.
The fathering and the mothering, everybody.
Yes, you have to mommy and daddy your ass, as our last episode pointed out directly in the title. And with that, Heather, while we have this moment, I would love to just take a minute to say to the listeners, folks, hi, welcome back. Happy Cancer season. You still with us? You all right out there? Keep your head up. Keep your head up. It's just a wave pool. Okay. It does have a shut off button. And with that, folks, Heather Cunningham, the astrology compass crown goddess royalty of our little astrological lives over here, just makes me more and more fucking spiritual every week. I apologize for the language, but yeah, like truly, Heather, it's just such a, I really missed these. I know we talked about this last episode, but it's so nice being back in sync and like
I need it.
Weekly chatting with you again, and it just makes me more spiritually fulfilled and connected. And with that, folks, I am Miranda Linsky, your astrology Q&A, I'm at the back of the book ready to ask the questions you're thinking. All right, and Heather's got the answers. Here we are, back at it again with another podcast episode. And before we wiggle crab walk our way into what the fuck am I saying? Crab crawl, pinch our way.
I love it.
clippity clackety our claws our way into the fun birth charts, Heather. Anything else truly, like, I know we'll obviously get into it by default, but the energy just feels like I'm just really relating to it. I'm really matching it. I really see it. I feel it. What else is on? Like, after this fucking peaking of like it's such a symbolism moment, it feels like, or Jesus, it's such a symbolic moment, it feels like, with the peak of the half year mark of 2023, this Capper, like, what, again, we started 2023 off
with Capricorn season,
Capricorn sun. Yep. Capricorn season. And now it's like right at the halfway point. We're having the full moon in it. Like, my God.
I know. With this reminder of like, reflect and take care of yourself emotionally and be your own container, but also like, what about those goals? What about, and July is like a halfway point in many ways, because also the nodes of fate, as they call them, which is my mom's favorite. Like, people in astrology are either obsessed with the nodes, or for a while I've sort of been like pushing them to the side because they're not planets. You probably don't hear me talk about it that much.
No.
It's like, it's not but a lot of people are obsessed with like, oh, my north node is in Scorpio and blah blah. So it's not a planet, it's a point in the natal chart, and they're called the nodes of fate because they have this very like collective sort of archetypal energy, and they move backwards as opposed to forward. So in the month of July, the north node is moving from Taurus to Aries, which is interesting. And then the south node is always opposite. So the south node is moving from Scorpio into Libra. So we've been dealing with these like Taurus Scorpio themes, which is also interesting because the eclipses earlier this year were in Taurus and Scorpio. And so there's been this like greater theme of possession and values, and jealousy has come up a lot and things like that, ownership. And now we're about to move more into like, how do I feel powerful in my own identity, and how do I like relate to people within that at the same time, and have like relationships where I'm very myself, but also combining energies with others. And honestly, I still have to do more research on that, but that's something that's happening this month that also feels pretty significant at this halfway point. And by early next year, Pluto's going to be in Aquarius. It's this whole, looking at the whole year, the energy of the whole year is very interesting.
I would have to say so, just based on feeling it, Heather. My God.
Right? Yeah.
That's really interesting about the nodes, though, because you're right. I don't feel like I hear you talk about them a lot, or maybe ever. But I do want to say, I've heard when people who know astrology or talk about their own charts will usually know like their nodes. And is that just something you can see on the map of your birth chart, or on your the actual birth chart?
So when you look at the birth chart, you can see the north node. It looks like a weird symbol. It's like a it's like a circle. I can describe it better once we pull up the charts. But like they show the north node but not the south node. So you just have to imagine what's opposite is the south node. So like, and I think everyone our age for the most part has the north node in Scorpio. So for people our age, mostly, our north node is in Scorpio. So we're meant to, in terms of like soul development, like learn Scorpio themes and really emphasize that in our life. But the south node is like the comfort area where they say you've spent a lot of time in your past life, whether you believe in that or not. That's sort of like a lot of astrologers, that's how they talk about the north node and the south node. Like the south node you have more experience with on a soul level, maybe from like past lives or whatever, and the north node is like what you're meant to develop in this lifetime. So for me, that's interesting because like the south node in Scorpio, I don't know, it's we all have the north node in Scorpio, so we're meant to like develop intimacy and being okay with our darkness, and like connecting without being possessive and jealous. And I don't know. It's all interesting.
I love that. I want to look mine up.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was like, surely it's got to be on the chart. And again, you said it's a placement or it's a point on the
It's a
chart, and there's a
point.
north and a
Yeah.
south. There's not an east and west node.
No east and west, just the north and south. And
Perfect.
yeah, it looks like a
Respectfully.
it's a little weird symbol. It almost looks like testes or it's like I don't know if you can see it if I put it on the screen. That little like thing next to the Pluto symbol, next to like the P. It's like a hump with like little like almost like a penis.
Yeah. Okay. Now I know where mine is.
Anyway, yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, again, I just want to say I feel like I've heard people bring this up before. So that's interesting. Thank you, Heather. Now I know how to find mine.
You're welcome.
Gorgeous.
Oh my god.
But yes, go on. Sorry.
Oh no, I wasn't gonna say anything else. I was just gonna say I'm like I feel like my sickness is coming back. I'm like, oh god, can I even talk?
Node. Oh, I'm sorry, Heather. You need that rest. You need to mother and father yourself. Call off work, folks. Listeners, Heather has the option here. Just kidding. I'm like, to skip work.
I know. Now I'm like
and
thinking
I'm
about
encouraging bad behavior. And with that, Heather, sorry, I'm marking this because I'm like, I'm trailing off myself. I'm like my neck's back.
Oh god. Well, another thing that Cancer season is supposed to, I don't know if I said this before, but like apparently during Cancer season, you're supposed to focus like on your own moon placement because Cancer's ruled by the moon and it's all about how to nurture yourself. And they say that like wherever your moon falls in your chart will probably like come up and should be emphasized this month. So I don't know if you feel that. Do you feel like more comfort through talking to people with your Gemini moon lately, or?
Well, it is funny that it was really fun being in Europe, I feel like, for the start of like Cancer. And it's interesting that you say that now too, because there was just such a funness to talking to people in Europe. And like there's such a like, I don't know, there's like a freedom about not being, I think, in your own country or in your own just like area. There's a little more like everyone has, I feel like, what I love to call like a vacation side, like who you are on vacation.
Yeah.
And there's such a freeness, at least for me, when I'm on vacation. I don't double think about like, not that I don't care as much or like care how I come across by any means. Like I obviously want to be respectful in a culture that's not mine.
But it's different.
Yeah, there's just like a freeness of like, I don't, like I'm only here for a little bit. Like I'm not so concerned of like, is this going to sound embarrassing if I bring this up or say this certain thing or just ask this like question or, if they can tell I'm American. Like it was, there was just kind of like a lot more freedom to be like, well, I leave in a few days. I'm only here for the time being. I don't know if that makes sense. Like I was a lot more, not more outgoing. I would say I classify as pretty outgoing when I'm out on these streets. But I also think that, there was such a freeness about it that as you bring that up, I'm like, oh yeah, I think my Gemini side or like my Gemini moon was just probably like thriving at getting to be in a new place, getting to meet new people, talk to new people, have the freedom of being like, you're only going to be here for a little bit, take advantage, like don't get caught up in things that, would maybe make me socially anxious and therefore socially awkward, like, I don't know. It was nice. So yeah, as you say that, definitely. And then wanting to bring sort of that energy back, like really being like, there's so much about Europe that I love and we should all adapt to. But mainly just like the summer energy, like, the vibes. Yeah. What about you, Heather? Do you feel like your moon's been more tapped into during this Cancer time?
Yeah, definitely.
Your Taurus.
Yeah, especially being sick and having these days off, thinking about like what would make me feel good right now. And it's usually a good meal. Or
Something nourishing
honestly,
for like the body. Yeah.
Mhm. But honestly, also like good music is a very Taurus thing that I've been into.
Oh,
My bath bomb, my bath.
oh,
Yeah, I've been enjoying the
Heather. Yes.
sensory things more, like
Yeah.
investing in like candles and
Oh, hell yeah.
yeah, even my
That's gorgeous.
clothes, like choosing
Yeah.
quality items over, you know,
I
H&M crap.
recently I recently had like a closet clean out of like I'm like, if I haven't worn it in a year, or if I never wore it this like last season, it's going into like the pile of like you're getting taken to the next clothing swap, and kind of having so that I have like an excuse to like go thrift some new pieces, freshen up like
Yes.
my life in that way. Is that
Yes.
Taurus?
I did that too, actually. I think it's very Taurus. Yeah.
Interesting. It feels
Yeah.
Taurus.
Yeah. I
So
think
when
that's
or very earth to like be like, fresh new clothes. But like
totally.
again, I don't feel like we've talked about this. It's like Taurus has a nature of like materialistic, but in the sake of like what you were saying, like quality.
Yes.
Not like for the flashiness of it, but more for the sake of like quality. And Taurus loves, I think, being like we said, surrounded by like pretty things. And again, not so much like flashy things, but more of like Taurus is gonna just like probably do better in the energy of being around a lot of plants, or like a
Yeah.
record playing with an incense or candles on
Yeah.
in the background,
Mm-hmm.
like all
Mm-hmm.
this sensory, like you said. It's a very
Yeah.
sensory sign, I feel
I
like.
feel very, yeah, cleaning out my closet. Oh my God, I got rid of so much shit. Some shit that I've like clothing items I've owned from fucking high school. It's like ridiculous.
Wow.
And I
Yeah.
got rid of 3 garbage bags of shit. And I was like, I literally thought about Marie Kondo. I was like, if I don't like love every item in my closet, then I want to be done. Like, I want to tap into that
That's her
side of my
whole
like,
thing,
I want to
right?
love every
Yeah.
item I own in this room. I want
If it
to,
doesn't like light you up, toss
yeah,
it, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a
I
great
love
time for
that.
that. That also feels
Oh,
very like summer solstice vibes.
yes, because we're coming into the summer solstice. We're gonna be and then it's also to me like as we're inching into like Leo season, and Leo sort of like I feel like loves to stay sort of fresh. Not so much like I don't mean that so much in the Gemini way of like needing new information all the time, but
Mm-hmm.
like it also feels very cohesive with Leo that like of course I would want some new fun pieces for my wardrobe to like pop up the
Yes.
summer vibes, because it's like
Yes.
we're going into a new season, which feels very like, okay, let's start. Like I love spring cleaning. It's a gorgeous time. It's one of my favorite times of year. I had no idea I would become Monica from Friends once I had my own place in New York. Very embarrassing,
Oh my
but like
God. No,
I
it's
do. I
amazing.
like sometimes I get high off cleaning the apartment. That has to be maybe my Taurus rising. Um,
Uh-huh.
but I love season cleaning. Like it's not just
Mm-hmm.
spring cleaning for me. I think also like I love when the season like changes. I kind of like do a sweep of the house, like literally, and then also like symbolically of like, what's gonna make this season really feel like it's this season, and like what kind of candles and scents do I need to swap out? What kind of like,
Yeah. Oh, I
it's
love
like I
that.
in the fall I want to play completely different records sometimes.
Right.
And like I'll put the fireplace on in the background of the TV instead of like
Mm-hmm.
Monet slideshow, Anyways,
I love that.
uh I think again that has to be there's a freshness to Leo, I feel like, as we're going into it, and like the change of the season.
Yeah, and also Mars and Venus have been in Leo traveling together, which I think
Mm,
collectively kind of inspires all of us to. I've noticed that everyone's kind of dressing a little bit flashier or maybe like making more of it.
yeah,
I certainly am. Like I want
as we
to
should.
look for new ways to express myself even in small ways through like putting in
Yeah.
extra effort with my makeup or like yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm already
Sorry.
feeling that. But I love Leo time. Yeah, I love the flashy. I love
Yes. I think I had this conversation with a good friend of mine who's a Scorpio. And she was saying how she was like, I don't know, like I could tell that she was like, I don't want to be judged for it, and I don't want to seem like I'm like maybe trying too hard, like without like fully saying that, but she was just sort of talking about like, I'm kind of, my aim here in my style right now is for like a good accent piece, or like she was more of like, it's not that I just don't want to be afraid to wear something a little over the top. And I'm like, we live in New York City, as you should. I'm not a great example of that all the time, but like I also think it's just like, yeah, go for it. We're young. It's life. Even if you're not young, it's life. Like, I don't know. There is something so fun about, I love how our generation, and the younger generation is really just embracing like fun, big pieces in a like a,
I'm obsessed.
Not in an attention grabby way. It's truly in like a, yes, express yourself, bitch.
Yeah.
Like,
Let's
why
have
not?
fun.
Why
Yeah. It
wouldn't
feels
we?
very Leo. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Also that self-awareness around it of like, well, I don't want to seem like it's like all very Leo.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm just like, no, I think we should all embrace it. I want to embrace it more myself.
Same.
And yeah, and I think it starts sometimes with a cleanse. And that's why I was like, I need to get some shit out of my closet so that it literally feels more empty, and I feel like motivated to go. But I'm like, even if it is something I wear all the time, I feel like it's time to give it a little toss. Like even that, like, it's not that I don't like love this shirt, but I'm just like, I cannot have another photo in it, or like I can't, I want fresh, like I want, and like embodying that starts like obviously internally, but and mentally and spiritually. But then like, yeah, what a fun Leo way to like symbolize freshness, like new wardrobe pieces or a new hobby. And I also think it's very Cancer of like, it reminds me of like, you know, shopping with my mom, literally growing up would be like, I would need new pieces of clothing for the season we were entering. And it was more of like a, I was in no means like able to just like roll with her bank account, but it was important to her that I like had new pieces for the season. And like that was a very, it feels like it's like a combination of that motherly energy we were talking about, that feminine energy of like a need to it, and then also like as we're inching into this Leo vibe of like freshness, and funness and summer, which mom can still be a part of.
Yeah. Wow. That's so, I haven't wanted to admit this to everybody because I feel like it's, you know, I should be saving money and stuff, but I canceled my cable subscription so that I could afford a Rent the Runway subscription. And it's literally that, like, new pieces once a month that is keeping things fresh. And I'm like, honestly loving
Heather.
it. And I get like so excited to pick new things. And it's just like, yeah, I'm like treating fashion as a hobby actually. And it's like making me really happy. Yeah.
As we should.
So.
No, I know. I think about that a lot, like a clothing subscription, because it's
good for the planet. Keeps things fresh.
Thank you. It's good for your soul. It's good for the planet. It's good for the economy. I don't actually know about that.
Yeah, but I don't know.
I have so many friends who use those like services, and I'm convinced more and more every day that I should be doing the same, because
it's fun.
Yeah, it looks it. And some of the cutest pieces I've ever seen are on my friends who have like subscription to clothing rental subscriptions like that. And I'm like, I just think everything about it is so genius, and I'm glad we're doing that. Because yeah, you don't always need to buy a whole dress for an event, but then it's like, but I want to wear that. It's essentially what celebrities do with like brands.
No, totally. I think renting is the future. I think like why aren't we all renting everything? Why can't, like,
Please.
I don't know.
Name something you can't rent these days.
Yeah. Let's just like rent all the cars.
Yeah. I don't even have one here.
Yeah, I was like, I don't even have a driver's license. I lost the bar in WeHo 6 months ago. Anyway.
Oh, and with that, Heather.
With that.
What a beautiful time to move on to the charts, don't you think?
Yes.
Mercy. Oh my God, sorry. Okay, I'm gonna pee really quick.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna come back in.
Okay.
Love you.
Love you.
Oh,
okay. So excited to eat a salad after this.
Oh my God, I'm gonna eat a salad too after this.
Oh, cute.
I did my little jar salads.
Oh.
I like prep them. Anyway.
Oh, I love that.
It's so funny because the whole time we were in Europe, especially France, like all I was craving was salad, like everywhere we went, because it was like so hot. But I was also just like, the salads were so cheap, like just a side salad would be like $2. And I was like, I feel like that's like never an option at restaurants here. Like you either have to get it as like a whole ass meal, or even the like side salad is like very expensive. It's like a meal's worth. So it's like, I never want to pay money for a salad, but I got a side salad with like every dish in France. And like,
love that.
I've just been on a salad kick since, and doing my little French dressing.
Oh, I love.
Like I'm back in Paris. But yeah, what's your salad, Heather? Sorry.
The idea is basically to make a bougie avocado toast, but like in salad form. So like,
oh yeah,
mixed greens, avocado, goat cheese, olive oil, little
grape
cherry tomatoes,
grape tomatoes,
and whatever else I can find. But that essentially, yeah.
Go off. Okay,
yes,
I'm sorry.
I'm excited.
And with that, I'm ready. Let's get to it so we can eat our little
salads. Get to it.
All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. Some fun. Oh,
all right. Now I'm going.
Sorry. Some fun Cancer charts today, Heather.
Yes.
Wouldn't you say?
Yes. Just fun is a word for mine.
Yeah. I was gonna say, it's so, when you brought up doing this person, I got excited because while I'm not personally reading their book, I've been hearing all the drums about this book, and I'm like really want to read it now. I'm very fascinated to read it. And how Cancer of them to get real personal and vulnerable with it in a book. Please, Heather.
Yeah, it's all very Cancer, which is why I want to talk about this person. I did a little research this morning, but in general, I wouldn't say that I'm like the biggest iCarly fan or have followed. I know that it's Jeanette McCurdy from iCarly, who just released this book called I'm glad my mom died, or I'm happy. Oh God, I should know the exact title, but you guys all know. And she did a one-woman show that my friend Christian actually saw with the same title. Yeah. And
I did not know it was also a one-woman show. That's fascinating.
Yeah. And we all met her at a party back when I used to hang out with Disney Channel stars in LA.
Wow.
No, not really. But we got invited to one party, and like Christian actually talked to her for a long time. And so she's very down to earth, very cool. But yeah, her story is like fucking wild. I know. Yeah, she's a Cancer, and basically, you know, Cancer is the mother archetype. And often if you are born with the sun in Cancer, you deal with mother themes, whether within yourself or initially like with your mother that you were raised with. And yeah, Jeanette McCurdy had like the most dramatic manifestation of dealing with Cancer energy, where she grew up with this mother who wanted to be an actress herself, and her parents didn't allow that. And so she made it her mission to make her daughter, Jeanette McCurdy, an actress, while Jeanette always wanted to be a writer, which is also very Cancer. But she was basically shoved into this industry, and Jeanette's whole existence became trying to please her mom, who was at the same time very abusive and would like have episodes where she like chased their dad with a knife, and like she was a hoarder apparently, and collected all these things that they couldn't afford, and like forced her and her brother to sleep on mats in their house instead of beds. And like I didn't read the whole book or anything, but just from the research I did this morning, I was like, yeah, Jesus Christ, this is fucking dramatic and insane. And not to say that like all Cancers deal with this kind of epic drama, of course, but it is interesting in that the idea of figuring out the maternal archetype is such a Cancer theme, and that Jeanette had to deal with it in this dramatic way. And her mom died of cancer in 2013, and the whole concept, I guess, of her one-woman show and her book is that she's glad her mom passed away.
Like actually, yeah.
Like actually, for real, which, yeah, I mean, God damn it.
And like didn't tell the story until after. Tell the story until after her mom like passed away. Wow, that's so, I totally hear what you're saying. Like it doesn't, there's, I think greater themes with the mother obviously can mean different things. There's different ways that can manifest, but it is just manifest. But it's just interesting that this Cancer in particular had such a traumatic, like darker experience with the mother archetype, but then ended up in their creative and expression, like in their own creativity and in their own way of expressing, like made a whole one woman show and book out of it. It's just very interesting to like, in a way, like turn around and mother yourself and like do some, you know, do something with the lemons you were given by your own, with your own mother's experience, and then turning it into a way to, I'm sure is very therapeutic for her. Any way we get to like express creativity is always usually pretty therapeutic.
Yeah.
And
But like
just,
you said, also very Cancer to be like vulnerable with your artwork, to make art about your mom, to like birth these things that are, very emotional and personal. It's all,
and to do it in a way that your mom always encouraged you not to, or like, you know, getting to write this book. She got to fulfill her dream of being a writer. And then also like to get to perform your own words in a one woman show, like get to be the creator, the writer. Like I feel like a lot of actors and actresses talk about this, or there's a reason we kind of see a theme of a lot of actors and actresses becoming producers or directors or writers later, because you get to sort of have control in a way that you don't as an actor. You get to have control of your performance, but you know, there's so much else that's just not in your creative control. So I think that's such a beautiful thing too, that the way like she got to tell her story and express herself was through a form that she always wanted to be doing in the first place. Interesting.
Yeah, it is. It's crazy interesting. And her Cancer sun falls in the 5th house of self-expression and creativity. And the moon, which is, you know, Cancer's ruling planet. And often they say, if you want to look to how your mom influences you psychologically, look to where the moon is placed in the chart and the planets it interacts with. Jeanette's moon is in Taurus in the 3rd house, in opposition to Pluto in Scorpio, which actually I have moon in Taurus opposite Pluto, but I did not have a crazy dramatic thing. My mom is amazing, but like but Pluto is the most intense planet in Scorpio, the most intense sign, with the opposition, which is like the most intense aspect you can have. And that moon in Taurus, she couldn't feel stable, she couldn't feel in control, which is what Taurus needs. And then Aquarius rising, which,
wow, y'all have a lot in common.
Yeah, actually, that's interesting. Yeah. But very creative chart, but definitely some mother challenges up in here. Really sad. But yeah, I mean, really amazing how she has picked up the pieces and thrived through it all.
Right.
But also I'll point out there's a lot of like the outer planets, which tend to have, we feel it in a more faded way because it's not personal planets. It's not like the sun and the moon. So Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, and Saturn are all in the public houses, and a lot of them are opposing. So like very much opposite her personal planets. So like Venus is opposite Uranus and Neptune. Venus in the 5th house of like identity and expression is like in battle with the more faded planets that are in the public houses. It's almost like she was like forced into this public life and has to sort of like figure out her identity through battle with that archetype. Maybe this all sounds crazy, the language I'm using, but
no, I hear, like I feel like I see that it's really interesting in the way that like her mom was abusive and in the ways that she was, then pushed her into a life of acting for someone who so clearly didn't want the spotlight in that way. Or like, you know, writers, I feel like a lot of writers understand that they're not necessarily in like the limelight, and to get to now have like the control over the narrative and write in a way that you always wanted to, and share your, you know, you didn't ask to be vulnerable with the world or like have a life of fame all the time, or like she clearly, that wasn't her goal, but her mom made it so like to kind of get like, I don't want to call it like revenge, but like probably closure she really needed on her
Yeah.
own end, and didn't have to wait for her mom to give, and her mom obviously can't give in this lifetime and in this realm, but like getting to have your own, like, I don't know, it's not, and I'm not like, not that she got like the last word, it's, you know, it's still a very
Yeah,
traumatic thing, and I'm sure the book probably goes into how losing her mom wasn't all like fun for her, or
for
like a
sure.
like all good,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, no, it's just really, wow, that's just like an interesting like flip. Like you didn't ask for your life to be in that limelight, but then getting to sort of like still
Yeah.
express yourself on that level.
Yeah, yeah. And with
I
all
don't
the
know.
water signs too, I feel like there is like a theme of like endings and loss and that becoming like a new beginning or an
Mm-hmm.
opening. So that alone is interesting too. Like,
Yeah.
but yeah,
That's why
really
so, and it's
crazy.
like the theme of all so many tragic things becoming incredible art for so many people. It's, you
Mm-hmm.
know, that always is like, I feel like a lot of artists and creatives and just the human experience a lot of times has to understand and express and like process. And a lot of times that's why, so, like, I hate to say it, but some of the best art that's ever made came from a very sad place, or like
Mm-hmm.
a has a sad undertone or context behind it. Not saying all good art has to be from that place, but like it is just, you know, we can't deny the fact that that is just true. And that does just seem to
Yeah.
be a common theme in the human experience a lot with creatives and artists.
Yeah.
Um, it could be a really beautiful thing though.
No, totally. Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, it's all about relating and like, what is the human experience if not experiencing pain from time to time in a way that you can relate? And like, it's always like when we're at our saddest, we want to like watch sad things or like watch things that sort of relate to that. Like it's not a
Yeah.
morbid thing. I think it's a way of like reminding yourselves you're not alone. I don't know.
Totally. No, I read this book on yeah, like the science of like why our brains enjoy storytelling and taking in stories, and it's because we get like a trial run of like the worst shit that could happen to us. It's like it's we can like vicariously live through people who deal with difficult things so we feel more empowered to like deal with difficult things ourselves. Um
It's
yeah.
inspirational.
Hmm.
Oh, art.
Very cancer.
Putting yourself out there. Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Um,
Uh,
anything else, Heather, that you want to point out on this
I think that's it.
gorgeous Cancer
You know,
chart?
she also has Venus and Mercury in Cancer. It's a very Cancer heavy chart. Um, but Cancer is also incredibly creative, and I'm really glad that she got to write in the end because I think this chart is more the chart of a creator and a writer than an actor. So,
Interesting.
yeah.
Has she really done much after iCarly? The listeners will let us know, but I feel like
I don't think so.
her
Besides going
big
to
thing
parties
is
in Burbank.
hell yeah.
Uh,
Hell yeah, sister.
no.
Same.
um, Yeah, I don't think so. I think like it was iCarly, then there was a lull, and then there was all this
Wow.
this project. Yeah.
Love that for her in the end. Not
Yeah.
her losing her mom, obviously, and the pain
Yeah.
that she had to go through while her mom was still here. But I know I love seeing an artist like, yeah, I'm sure not all the puzzle pieces are firmly glued back together. Everything's a process and takes time, but it's not even an artist thing. Just seeing another human fucking give a shit and try, like while
Mm-hmm.
they're here, like it's so empowering.
Mm-hmm.
It reminds me to do the same, like you said, Heather. Oh, thank you for sharing that.
Ah, you're
Ah,
welcome. Thank you for listening.
um,
Jeanette.
Jeanette, come on the pod,
I'm on the pod. Promote your book.
please. I want to read it. I've
I
seen
do
so
too,
many people with
actually.
it. Like I've seen it on the train being read so many times. Um, People at work were reading it, and like just yeah, I was surrounded. Yeah, I really want to get my hands on a copy.
Yeah.
Um, Listeners, let us know how it is.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, Heather, shall we move on to our next Cancer chart?
Yes.
The one, the only, the baby of the Knowles prodigy, the Knowles royalty, little sister to none other Beyonce, Miss Solange. Of course, Solange is a Cancer. Uh, like of course, and the way that of course Beyonce's a Virgo. Oh my god,
Mm.
Heather. Speaking of, real quick, but like I've been seeing clips on TikTok of Beyonce's Renaissance tour, and there was a clip of like her production team like just royally fucking up something
Oh
on stage.
no.
And she's like looking at them with like flares in her eyes. And I said, oh my God,
The
you
Virgo.
do not mess up the Virgo's routine, bitch, especially in front of all these people, all
Very
these paying fans.
particular. Yeah.
Well, and I think she's also just so like, when it
Wants
comes
it
to
to
her,
be
a
best
perfect, or like,
quality.
yes,
Perfect. Yeah.
she's like, these people came out to see this. We have a message to say, we have a performance to give them. Like, I think it's also like, it's such a fierce performer in her. I love
Yeah.
that
No,
energy. And
totally.
yes, it's so Virgo though. It's so Virgo. Anyways, and with that, Solange just really gives, her music alone really gives off this like Cancer energy. And like I was like shocked that I wasn't I was not shocked that I was not what I was not shocked that I wasn't surprised when I found out she was a Cancer. And her chart alone, very right side kind of oriented a little bit, or there's like, or the way I'm looking at it, like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of crissy crossy on like the right,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess north and south of the chart, if I'm looking at it correctly.
Uh-huh.
Um, but I'm interested to like see Beyonce's chart. I should have pulled it up with Solange's, like kind of compared, because I feel like there's almost like there's a balancing act there a little bit
Yeah.
with the
Yeah.
two of them. But they're
Yeah.
both very similar to me in a lot of beautiful ways as well.
Yeah,
But
Solange
anyway,
is a lot more watery because, well, Beyonce has Scorpio, doesn't she?
I
Is
think
she
so.
a Scorpio moon? Okay, yeah, so they both have
It's
water.
her privateness.
Right, right.
We're obsessed.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't have Solange's rising, right?
No, unfortunately, we have, it's Cancer Sun and Aquarius Moon.
Right.
I don't have the rising. Damn, I didn't realize that till just now.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
That makes it a little tricky.
Well, yeah,
You're right.
no,
So
but
the chart could
it's
look a little different just based on, we just have
right,
what we
right.
have. Good point,
Um,
Heather.
but yeah, it's pretty well balanced actually, because there's the Aquarius moon, there's a grand water trine with Jupiter in Pisces and Pluto in Scorpio, Sun in Cancer. And then there's Venus in Leo, which is very creative. Ooh, opposite the moon in Aquarius. Yeah, so this again, I feel like is a very creative chart, but I can see how it manifests differently than Beyonce, who has like Leo rising, who is like a performer. And
Right.
yeah, the Virgo that is like so precise, and I would even say like calculated about the content it produces. And Cancer, I read this article that like Solange took Beyonce to, I want to say like not Coachella, but another music festival kind of like it that was more like indie music focused. And she like introduced Beyonce and Jay-Z to like beach house and like indie bands. And that's sort of when Beyonce's music sort of started becoming more, I don't know, just not so like mainstream poppy.
Right. She's proven enough by now that like she can make a mainstream hit. It's like, yes,
Yeah.
Beyonce's messaging became more of the focus, I think,
Yeah.
for her
Yeah.
albums and her music and her art in general.
Yeah. And I think she took more like risks with style and stuff, especially in Renaissance and things like that. But like
Yes.
I think that Solange is credited with a lot of that. Like Solange like really expanded her music palette, and makes sense. Solange with her Aquarius moon, you know, into exploring unique and different things. And yeah, it's like a bit more of a shy in the background chart, I think, but very creative nonetheless, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. And like, God, Solange's like album is one of my,
Oh, I
like,
love it so much.
yeah, it's just so good. And yeah, it's not something you'd maybe hear quite on mainstream, but it's one of the best pieces of like art and music I've ever heard. And Beyonce is still one of, the highest selling artists in terms of album sales, and like, yeah, this huge tour. But it's like you said, like, yes, it's a lot more. Beyonce is that overall well-rounded, not to compare the sisters, but I do just think, there's so much that Solange Beyonce's entire career is why Solange has one and is able to even express herself artistically in this way that people give a shit, which is really beautiful. Not that they wouldn't, but like I think Solange in her Cancer way would be the first one. She always pays homage, obviously, to Beyonce. She kind of can't not. It's one of those things where it's like,
Totally.
yeah, it's the whole reason Solange is able to like have one of the best albums she's ever put out, respectfully. And anyway, my point is that like, exactly, not to say that Solange isn't an incredible performer, or couldn't be a triple threat, but it does just feel like that the water side of her, especially like that Cancer, is much more about like being a music artist. Not that Beyonce obviously isn't, but like yeah, I just don't see Solange doing like a world tour. Not that she couldn't, but because I don't think that's what's like being a recording artist is what's like at the goal for her. And like she's she's written on some of Beyonce's hits before and stuff. So like it's like she's got that validation. And it's really funny too that like we talked about Jeanette wanting to be a writer, which you said like is very Cancer, and like how Solange I feel like has written on some of Beyonce's songs, and like is more of like when it comes to music she's more interested in that process. Not that she can't be great at the whole thing, but whereas Beyonce I think is more of in the producing seat, and has like a vision on that wider like scale. Like Solange is able to really use her talents as a writer, which is just so funny that we talked about that being so Cancer.
Yeah, it is funny. And one of my favorite authors of all time, Mary Karr, who writes memoirs, and her first memoir that is really huge and successful is literally about her mother. And like, there is something about, I think, like Cancer, especially writing from a personal place like music often is, or like in Jeanette McCurdy's case or in Mary Karr's case, of like reflecting on your past and like discovering your personal history and stuff through music and or through writing.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah, it's very Cancer. But yeah, the other really cool thing that I noticed in Solange's chart is that Mercury is, attributed to it's Gemini's planet, so it's often correlated to siblings in a weird way. And Mercury in Solange's chart has a trine to Jupiter, the planet of expansion and abundance in Pisces. It's almost like her sibling helped her to expand in a very musical, Piscean, spiritual, abundant way.
I love that. It's just gorgeous.
Yeah.
Solange. Gorgeous, gorgeous Cancer charts, Heather. For a gorgeous, gorgeous Cancer season, huh?
I love Cancer. I really do.
It's been a nice time, I gotta admit.
Yeah,
ebbs and flows, baby. Ebbs and flows.
It is. Even the heavy times have felt like cozy in a way.
Well, being a parent is hard, Heather.
It is.
I hear.
I wouldn't know. Yeah.
Being a parent to oneself, even harder, it seems.
Yeah, I know, right? I can hardly handle that.
What do we got going on in the stars coming up?
Yeah, not a ton of activity this week.
Well,
but
they deserve it after all this commotion.
It's true. That Capricorn full moon was heavy. Yeah, but some of the personal planets are entering new territory. I'm really excited about Mars entering Virgo. July 10th, we have our first little dose of Earth after we haven't had that for a while. And whenever planets are in Earth, I thrive because I could use some of that energy. So Mars entering Virgo is going to help us, pay attention to our bodies a little bit more, things we need to take care of. Mars is the planet of action and drive and what we want to put energy into. And Virgo is all about work, the mind, body, spirit connection, attention to details, communication. So we're going to have more energy for those types of things. It's a really good time to finish your projects, to fall in love with the work, to take better care of yourself, make little diet adjustments. So I'm really looking forward to that. That's July 10th when it enters Virgo, our first little bit of Earth. Fabulous. And then
following this like Capricorn full moon too, it just feels very like
timely.
flow. Yeah.
For sure. For
Yeah.
sure. I agree. Yeah. And then July 11th, the next day, Mercury enters Leo, which is also fun because Mercury was through Cancer. And so now we still have 2 planets in Leo. It's a good transit for creativity because Mercury is the planet of communication. And in Leo, we want to express our authenticity in creative, fabulous ways.
Mm.
So those are the big things happening this week. Nothing major, but a little
Love it.
douse of Earth, a little douse of Virgo, and then a little. We might want to communicate more authentically, more artistically, more attention to self-expression.
God, I love that. Oh, what a beautiful season it is. What a beautiful halfway mark we're in. What a gorgeous, gorgeous check-in point with the full moon. And then also just it being in Capricorn, like the beginning of the year, honing in this groundedness coming through. I love it. Thank you, Heather.
I love it too. You're welcome.
And we love you, listeners.
Thank you.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, thank you, listeners. Thank you, Jeanette. Thank you, Solange. Thank you, Cancer season. God bless. I mean, infinite abundance right here upon us.
Infinite abundance.
I love you so much, Heather. Truly.
Love you.
And there's so much to go around. Go, so much love to go around. Go spread some, listeners. And we'll see you right back here next week, okay?
Bye.
Mommy loves you. Cancer loves you, and we love you.